more clearly. And the thing is, what I came back to at that, so in my last condensation, okay, it came down to 1 again, and this time I was left with rise. And I said, you know, if there's one thing that matters, if you can win the rise, you basically have won the outside. You basically win the hand. The rise is the key to all outside control. So there was probably all the way from Levon until Gennady, all I did was rise and roll. That's it. And it was an incredible period of growth. The amount of simplicity that I had in my game. You know, if you can control the rise, if the other person is forced to hold on to you, it's nothing but bad answers, unless they flop. But having a superior rise, to me, is now the central point of the arm wrestling game. It is the central piece. Like, I'm a terrible chess player, really bad, but I love the game, and I try and draw some kind of correlation to it. In chess, there's an opening. And if you get the opening wrong, you're gonna lose, okay? The best chess players, they have all the openings mapped. They know how it goes, okay? In arm wrestling, it's the same thing. There's openings. You can open up with any kind of pressure you want. A good arm wrestler is gonna pick you apart. If you do the wrong pressures at the start of the match, you're screwed, okay? And anybody who tells me that the opening is not either coming up or coming right at that guy, we're gonna probably have to talk for quite some time. Okay, the division point in arm wrestling is forward and back. Okay, and when you talk all parts hand control, it is first established by who is holding on to who. It just lends itself to musculature. If you can make the other person hold on to you, you get to just use more muscles. You get to use your hand, your arm against only small parts of their hand. That's why the rise, it's an effect where you'll break your opponent down. Rising is the technically biggest piece in arm wrestling. It's followed by pronation, right? When you can outrise somebody, they're forced, if they still want to use their hand, they're forced to have to hook you. And then you have an incredible pronator to defeat that piece, and then they're forced to flop. And then you have to deal with a flop, and that's fine. So that's where your inside stuff will come back in, but it's only that way because your rise is dominant.
What have you developed to counteract the flop? What's your thinking about that now?
So when a person doesn't care about something, like when they're willing to give it away, then it holds less value, right? I found that in life, there's so many reflections to things you're going to learn on the arm wrestling table, and there's something about following a person down. Okay, you know, like you guys used to play King of the Hill when you were a kid. You know, they pile up the snow, you know, and all the kids are trying to get to the top of the mountain, and you push each other down. And when you finally do get to the top of the hill, if you want to beat up the kid who's on the bottom of the hill, you're actually going to have to go down there and beat him up, right? You can't just stand on top, and you're gonna have to follow him down. And same thing in arm wrestling. The best position is just to be slightly higher on the hill, but on top of them. So when it comes to a flopper, you need the ability to, so they're trying to give away, they're giving away specifically their hand. And when you say specifically their hand, they're not making you hold on to them necessarily. They're not attacking your pronation, okay? They're not attacking your pronation whatsoever. It's a flop. They're not attacking your pronation. So there's a couple of rules of arm wrestling. It's kind of a complicated question, but there's 3 rules of arm wrestling. Okay, the first rule is be strong. Okay, be strong in arm wrestling. We've started to talk about it. It's rising. It's rising, it's cupping, it's rolling, it's keeping your arm inside your body. There's some grip involved. It's very simple stuff. Okay, if you can be strong in these movements, you're going to be an incredible arm wrestler. Incredible arm wrestler. Now, how do you use that? Second rule of arm wrestling is you don't fight a losing battle. You do not fight a losing battle. That means is if the person is stronger than you, you can't fight them there. You have to give it away and go somewhere else. The third rule is don't take what's being given, okay? So, talking specifically about the flop wrist press. The flop wrist presser identifies that they do not have a superior hand, okay? They may have a superior shoulder, they may have a superior frame. They do not have a superior hand, so they give it away. They give their hand away, not fighting a losing battle, right? They're gonna lose that battle of the hand. They give it away and they come forward. They come forward with their frame, okay? The response to that, the person who does have the superior hand, they cannot take what's being given to them, okay? The flopper is giving the hand. You cannot take the hand. You cannot take it. So specifically, flopping is the giving away of the cup, giving away of the attack of pronation. The worst thing you can do against a very good flopper is pronate against them. The action of pronation against a flopper's presser is going to potentially expose your arm, okay? One of the most important things to do against a flopper is to keep your arm inside your body, okay? A flopper does not want to be turned with his palm up, okay? They want to be able to push. When they start to be turned, they are no longer mechanically in line. The best answer to flopper, specifically when it comes to training, is supination training. You need to be strong to keep your arm inside your body, and you need to be able to cup, specifically low cup multi-spinner. If there was 2 exercises, if you knew you had a flopper's presser coming up, do a ton of supination work, do a ton of low cup multi. And you might as well throw high cup multi in there as well, because there's a good chance that you can high cup multi right out of the gates, switch to low cup, supination, dominant position, no option. Yeah, so as soon as I lost to Gennady, I've faced floppers before. When I faced Jerry, I learned this lesson long ago, watching Jerry, listening to guys talk about Jerry, watching Travis beat Jerry, watching John and Ron beat Jerry. You have to stay close to a flopper. You cannot run from a flopper. It's one of the freakiest things. Like, everybody's like, man, you don't test your frame against Jerry Carteret. And it's arm wrestling. That's arm wrestling. You're gonna have to get in there. You're gonna have to get in there. If this dude's willing and he's a good flopper, he's gonna force the situation. Okay, you stay on top of them, but you move forward with them. Just make it even worse for him. The flopper can be put in terrible positions through the hand, but moving forward. Exploding hand technique. But yeah, low cup multi, supination. You need to be able to just crunch that dude while keeping your hand. If they're underneath you, if they're trying to do the same thing without their hand, it's less favorable. Yeah, you're gonna have dominant position.
Favorite supination exercise?
Supination? Yeah, so supination exercise, probably you can go 2 ways, okay? So supination exercise, what I would do, like for starters, like for just beginning, is I'd start like this, okay? And I'd cut it inside my body, okay? Like this. So this way, you're bringing the match in, okay? Now, if people talk about being strong in a press and stuff like that, it's not so much about being strong in a press, it's being strong to get it into a press. A lot of these moves, like whatever, okay, now I'm strong here. Yeah, get there. You have to be strong to bring yourself into position. So this supination, bringing the match into your body. This strength is of massive importance for any kind of pressing, arm attacking. Yeah. Now, to add heat on that, to add like more, okay, so you'll progress with your weight, okay, you're gonna get heavier and heavier and heavier until a point when mechanically it starts to break down, okay? You're gonna mechanically start to, it's very important when you train, guys. I should say this, that we're starting to get into the training part now. It's super important to always feel good. It should always feel good.
State of flow, basically.
It should always feel great. Exercise should feel incredible. Okay, when exercise starts to hurt, just take some time, think about that. Shouldn't.
Have you ever trained your triceps, like once you get it, and then?
That's exactly where we're going, buddy. So the next part of the press is actually the real press, to actually train the position, right? Because You want to train the actual press position. So this is to get you into the press position. This gets you into the press position, and then this is the press position, okay? So it's a switch from bicep to tricep, okay? So then obviously you're gonna be way stronger with the tricep, okay? So when you get right behind the weight, all in line, pulley going this direction, supination pressure, right? It's coming off the inside ridge. When you're pushing like this, okay, you're gonna be able to generate a lot of pressure, okay? Should always feel good, but yeah, when you consistently work like this, you're gonna develop your press, okay? But don't think only about getting the press. You have to think about actually being able to get into a press.
You ever just pull on the cable to give yourself something to be able to get in there with heavier weight? Or if you can't
I use a
supinate
weight,
it,
I
you
use a
want
weight
tricep?
stack. I got a weight stack, and I'll just kind of make the weight appropriate. Yeah, I'll get it. I'm gonna get into the training aspect here. Yeah, any more questions?
Hey, Dad, I was just wondering, I'm interested in the development part of arm wrestling.
Yeah.
I noticed that you got it into the high school there.
Yeah.
And that's huge, but just
Yeah.
like, how did you navigate that red tape there
Well,
and try and change that?
Phil Lauzon.
Yeah.
Phil Lauzon is the man, okay?
Okay.
I'm lucky, I just been talking about it for a long time. Like, man, wouldn't it be great, wouldn't it be great? The guy who actually did the work is a guy called Phil Lauzon.
Okay.
Okay, and if you look at those videos on my YouTube,
Yeah.
if you find those videos, I posted links underneath to find Phil Lauzon.
Okay.
He did all the work, and he's got a plan. He's got a plan to make arm wrestling right across Canada be
Yeah.
a championships for kids within probably 5 years. That's the
Okay.
goal. Yeah, this year is going to be even bigger. So last year what we did is we probably had, I don't know whether it was 12 or 15 schools. Okay, it was the first time we did it. Okay, he did all that red tape stuff. Okay, right away we've been talking for years. He's a phys ed teacher. He's been teaching. He's had an arm wrestling club at his school for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so eventually, he made the proposal, and the principal was like, "Yeah, support." And so he kind of got it out into the community a bit, and we were able to get like 12 to 15 schools. Next year is going to be what's called a festival. Okay, so we should probably have like double or maybe triple.
Wow.
Yeah, and the goal is just to keep progressing until we get it right across Canada. So
Yeah.
we'll start to push again to hype it, but basically anybody, and Nationals is a great place to kind of advertise this, but anybody who knows about teachers involved in the schools, point them towards Phil.
Okay.
Yeah, make that connection. Yeah, we'll
And
start
he's open to just like giving him a ring or emailing him or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email's there. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he's all about it. Like
Yeah.
he competed yesterday, hardcore arm wrestler.
Awesome.
Yeah, loves it. Yeah, the goal is to get arm wrestling for kids
Yeah.
right across Canada. Have a big like high school championships. How
Yeah.
cool is that, right?
That'd be awesome.
Right. The same way we have like track meets, like have it right across Canada, whether we piggyback or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, just have arm wrestling in there.
Yeah.
Be super cool for Canadian arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to talk about training, and listen guys, keep asking questions, totally cool, but I want to start to breach the training subject because I think it's real important, because there's guys here who, want to go as far as they can. In my opinion, the most important thing you can do if you want to be a good arm wrestler is just arm wrestle all the time. Arm wrestle all the time. I know it seems so simple, but it's probably the most important thing. I haven't done anything but arm wrestle with my left hand in 4 years. It's been 4 years in October. 4 years in October, it's the only thing I've done. And my left hand is probably the best it's ever been. Probably, okay? And that's from only arm wrestling. Having a club, getting together with people, it's the best thing that there is in the sport. It's gonna make you really good. Now, how do you do it? You can't hurt each other. This is the most important thing. You cannot hurt each other. A lot of people think you're at a certain level where you're still a student. Everyone is a student and everyone is a teacher. Okay, whatever level you're at, you are a student to some and you're a teacher to others. The more you can teach, the more your students will come back and feed you, okay? The more you can work with kids, the more, this is only a matter of time. This is short, okay? You work with kids for a year, 2 years, 3 years, they become men and they're gonna push you. And there's gonna be nothing like it. Like I watch it with Auden and his friends, like it's not gonna be long. It's not gonna be long before Auden and all his buddies are like my very best workout partners. You need to get on the table all the time. If you wanna be great at the sport of arm wrestling, arm wrestle every day if you can. You can do it. You can arm wrestle every day. Don't let people tell you you can't, as long as you're safe. It's about intensity, okay? You need to arm wrestle at an intensity that is not damaging. You can do it every day. You do not have to. You do not have to. And if it becomes too much, certainly take it back. But don't let people tell you that you can't, because you very much can. I've proven it my entire career. I've arm wrestled for every day for many periods of my career, and some of the best results I've had are from periods where I've done so. So arm wrestling is the central piece. The next piece of extreme importance is the development of strength and power in your total fundamental moves, okay? So we can talk about what are those, right? To me, it's rise and roll. And it's about how much do you lift over the course of long periods. Don't worry about like, I've got the nationals in 3 weeks or 6 weeks. You need to train every single day so that when you add it all up, like how much did you lift in 3 months? You want the volume to be as high as possible. That's what you're going for. You're going for the highest amount of volume over the long term, the longest term you can imagine. This is how you know that your training is accurate. If you do too much in one day, it'll knock down your ability to do more over the course of months. Okay, you need to look what is the most you can accomplish over the course of months. This is why form becomes incredibly important. Form and intensity in the way it feels. Okay, it can only feel good. Your form must be perfect. You must be content to lift at like 90 to 93%. Okay, this is the level that you should operate at most of the time. The way I set up my singles, okay, I currently am working with 5 singles, 2 primary, 3 kind of less than, okay? This is the portion, right? So there's the table portion, there's the strength development portion. These are separate blocks. There's a third portion, which I'll get to. The strength development portion, every single day of my life, throughout the day, I will do single lifts, okay? I have them set up consistently from morning till night. It will be the same weight. And when I can perfectly do it, over and over, then I will add weight. I'll add weight. And when I add weight, I will certainly not add weight right away. When you think about arm wrestling motions, okay, let's talk about a pronation lift. Who knows a good pronation lift? Perfect one. That's the perfect one, right? To belt top roll through the thumb, right? Off the floor. It's the most simple, it's the most pure top roll pronation lift. Okay, now when you think about that lift specifically, let's just throw in numbers. Let's say, what number would you need to do to be like world level in the open weight class? Or what would you think? Just
Single
I
lift?
think Hermes
Single
just did
lift.
230, didn't he?
How much?
I think Hermes just did 230.
He did 230.
I
That's
think.
crazy.
Off the
Okay,
table.
but did he? But hold on. He didn't do it through his thumb. He did not do it through his
I
thumb.
didn't.
Over his wrist
It was just like
Yeah,
a
no,
day or
he
so
did it.
ago.
He did it here. Okay, and this, where the belt goes is very important.
Belt over the thumb, single 1 rep max, like for world level.
It's the most you've seen.
I don't know, but I'm gonna say it's well over 100 pounds.
Yeah, well over 100.
But maybe 150.
Maybe 150. Yeah. I'd say it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at a 150-pound pronation lift, you
clean
are.
lift too, right?
Yeah, if you got a clean 150, oh my God, you are in the discussion.
When you're talking about that, are you talking about just a lift that doesn't open, or are you actually pronating?
No, I'd say it's
Like
clean
isometric?
off, like it's bang, it's clean off the floor, not slopping out,
Right.
like
Not
sustained,
getting opened up.
not getting opened up, like you're lifting it, like you're definitely not rolling through it.
Yeah, that's what
No, but like it's a good locked, controlled lift. Yeah, I'd say, and I'd say even once you get to like 140 pounds, it's starting to become real relevant. 150, yeah, 160. If you're at like 175, oh my God. If you got like 180, okay, so we're talking about it's not a lot of weight. If you were to add 1 pound to your lift every week, say it's 50 pounds in a year, okay, say you start off doing it with 50 pounds, okay, in a couple of years you could be world level, which is really, when you talk about like where you should be looking, okay, think about years, okay, so take your time. If you add a pound to your lift, you know, once a week, oh my God, like you are skyrocketing, okay. If you add a pound every couple of weeks, this is great. If you can maintain that for years, if you add a pound even a month, okay, that's 12 pounds, okay. Say you start out at 80 pounds, okay, you know, 10 years later, you're world champion, okay, world champion. 10 years is a minor investment in my mind. Anyways, the things take time. It should feel super easy. It should feel super easy.
I was mostly wondering about lower weight classes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're talking about, I don't know, 85 kg,
Yeah.
like, what level would you think to lift?
The same lifts are important. So I mean, where the lifts are, it doesn't matter exactly. And you know, it'd be cool to actually just set up a board, set up these records. I know there's a guy in France who's trying to do this. He's trying to set like these lifts and have like records established for all the weight categories. I think that'd be cool to know. But look, there's a couple lifts that really matter. And of course, the littler guys aren't going to be as strong. That's why we have weight categories. You want to have your rise, okay, awesome. You want to have your roll, awesome. These are probably the two that you want to focus on more than any other lifts, okay? Consistently. I know I talk about it a lot, but it's just because it's that important. You want to bounce between strength and power, okay? So you have to listen to your body, okay? And the thing is as an arm wrestler, you are going to push. You're probably, even though you're going to fight so hard not to, you're going to probably push to a place where your form is starting to break down, okay? If you find yourself getting there, I suggest you take a 3-week power break, okay? And that means switching from strength to power, okay? And that means, you know, you go and instead of lifting a max weight, you're gonna take up the load and boom, you're gonna accelerate through it as quick as possible. And you're gonna add weight when that movement just flies off the floor, okay? This development of strength and power is a central piece in the arm wrestling game. Okay, when you spend all this time arm wrestling, all this time getting very familiar with the sport, the fighting, choosing of competitions, this is how you're gonna become technically really good. But the addition and honing of these simple movements it's gonna be what makes you into a class winner, world champion, national champion.
What is your definition between the difference between strength and power? What is
right? So strength, yeah. So strength is your maximal load, okay, and it's probably the most important, you know, physical characteristic in arm wrestling. You know, strength is probably the #1 factor in arm wrestling. Okay, the specialized strength in these movements. Okay, so strength is maximal load. Power is acceleration. Okay.
More static compared to
Strength is I think more static.
Yeah.
Okay. Power is about acceleration. Power is about how fast you can go from little load to like a high load. Okay. It's about the ability to accelerate quickly. This is where hitting in arm wrestling comes from. Okay. Something that in the past I've been notoriously bad at. But I don't know if you can start to see over the last year, I'm starting to be able to hit a bit more. I've incorporated way more power training in my workouts.
Is your form more important at that?
Form is always incredibly important. If you need to focus on your form to such a high degree, And the main reason is because you are trying to achieve the maximum volume. Okay, if you do bad form, you will get injured. You will get inflammation. You will start to hurt. When your form is perfect form, you will never hurt yourself. You'll never hurt yourself if your form is perfect. When you do your lifts, you know, you want to, okay, take my pants off here for a second. Right, so I use a belt, okay? When I do the lift, right, my form is perfect, okay? So what that means is there has to be some consistencies, okay? The one consistency is the angle, okay? This has got to be parallel with the floor. As soon as I start to do this kind of thing with the lifts, or this kind of thing with the lifts, it makes it, I'm cheating the lift, okay? So it's, you just can't measure it. Always 90 degrees, okay? Now, the exact placement of the rise has changed for me over the years, okay? If I was to go back 10 years ago, I was rising much more here, okay? In between the first knuckle and the second knuckle, okay? I felt like this was kind of where it was. I don't think that that's the case anymore. Now, I feel like the pointy end, so the tip of the rise is actually the knuckle, okay? I actually think this is the most precise piece that is the highest value to win immediately is the height of this knuckle, okay? If I can keep it from here, that's great, but that's like a like to have. But what a must have is this knuckle not dropping, okay? This knuckle must rise up. Okay, so I put both the bands right over the middle of the knuckle, okay? Now, so when I do my lift, okay, bang, to have my wrist straight is very nice. However, not required. You will actually be stronger when you're in a posting position to actually slightly kick back. And this bait is actually the better way to arm wrestle, okay? When you arm wrestle and you're at the table and you start to post, and if you're both posting, the one who bends their wrist back slightly will actually have the greater ability to climb, okay? And it's actually mechanically more in line, okay? So when you do your lift, okay, the wrist doesn't have to even stay straight. The wrist can bend out slightly. So when I do my lift, I can see how my wrist is straight, and then you see how my wrist bends out slightly, okay? This is even fine. This is fine, okay? It'll feel good. This perfect form. Form is very important, okay? As soon as you can accomplish the lifts consistently with perfect form, then you advance slowly. Always at 90 to 93%. Your graph will look better over the long term than it will with, you know, going up, coming down, up, down. Yeah. Rising, guys. Rising over almost everything in the sport when it comes to strength and hand control and development of your strength. Okay, and the ability to do it strongly and the ability to do it with power also. Proper form. Always proper form. As soon as your joints get out of line or slopping, you're gonna run into injuries. That's gonna mean you can't train as much. That's gonna mean you do less work over the amount of time. That's why it's so important. Yeah, form always. Yeah.
I haven't competed since 1987. I'm an old man, 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
I've recently started the bands.
Yeah.
And the strength is coming back quickly.
Yes.
Now, I train every day, but
Yeah.
I max out once a week in strength.
Beautiful.
Now, you're training 4 or 5 times a day. When should I incorporate that rather than once a day?
Okay, so I'll bounce around a little bit. So we'll talk about blood flow. We'll talk about blood flow, and we'll talk about like metabolic stuff a little bit. So there's function, and function is kind of, you know, you're trying to accomplish a win, okay? The body is interesting the way it responds. when I was first getting into the sport, a lot of the old guys said, Devon, it's a tendon sport. And I was like, what do you mean, what are the tendons doing that's so special? Like, it's about the muscles are moving everything. And then you realize you get tendon issues, and it's the tendons that hold you back, right? So you have to develop your tendons, you have to continue to grow and strengthen your tendons. When they look at who has the best connective structures, it's all the endurance guys. It's the marathon runners, the power lifters have terrible tendons, you know, it's got to do with blood flow. When I started to get tendon issues, I started to do a fair amount of research. I came across a very interesting study. It's called Strolling Under the Skin. And what they found was the heart, when it pumps, it pushes fluids all through the body, right? And most of the cells are in a place or to a softness where the fluid passes over them and they're able to take from that. But a lot of structures in the body are not, okay? So the structures that are very dense, they don't facilitate blood flow. Ligaments, tendons, the fluid doesn't pass through those, doesn't. So what you need to do is you need to move, okay? When they go inside the body and they see the actions of the tissues opening and closing, they actually start to see that there's a pump mechanism involved with it, okay? So the only way these tissues get fluid exchange is through movement, okay? So all the motions of arm wrestling, you must move them, you must lube them, okay? And this is the third portion of my training. So the first portion is arm wrestling practice, competition. Second part is the development of strength and power. And the third part is rehabilitation, connective structure, development, blood flow, okay? And you should do it every day. You should do it, well, I mean, you should brush your teeth after every meal. But, you know, if you do it before you go to bed, that's probably a great place to start. Do it when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed. This is a great practice, okay?
Should I max out that once a day like you
Well,
were talking
look,
about?
first, if we're talking about blood flow, you're gonna start to feel healthy, okay? If you do blood flow exercises all the time and the movements that we already talked about, the rise, the roll, the cups, all this stuff, lower intensities, lots of movement, reps 30 to 50, never hard, lots of pumping, do a session for like 30 to 45 minutes. This is gonna flush fluids through all your tissues. It's gonna increase the amount that you can heal. It's gonna add strength and stability to your tissues. As long as it feels good when you do it, it's gonna be of great benefit. But it's a separate issue. You shouldn't think about it even the same. It's a completely separate thing. And the way that this training is, when you start to do it, it should be very light and very easy. And then even your rehabilitation training, it can become harder. Like you can have hard rehab. You can make it difficult, but it's still rehabilitative in nature. It's not exactly what the sport is. The intensity is a little bit lower. Intensity in arm wrestling is 100%. It's everything. You get to the table, it's 100%. That's why we get hurt. That's why we break our bones. That's why we rip our muscles, because we are going 100%. And train as you fight, right? You want to train for arm wrestling, you're doing singles. You're doing a lot of singles. Yeah. Okay, but you want to be able to fight, you have to be healthy. Okay? So that's why it's 3 parts, okay? You have to take care of your connective structures, you have to take care of the health of your arm. And you're gonna do that through blood flow exercises, through doing that stuff you're talking about every day, multiple times a day, if you can. And then, yeah, you should be doing singles too. You should be. And just approach, a lot of people when they think singles, they get scared, they get worried. And this is what if I can tell you to not be, okay? Singles are daunting to most people. Singles are like, oh man, I'm gonna have to. No, the singles should be easy. Easy rehab, easy singles, easy, it should feel good. You should wake up and you know you can lift it. You know that you can. It's an easy lift. What you're looking for is a perfect lift, a perfect lift. When you can do it perfectly, multiple times throughout a day, then you're ready to progress. Then you can progress. And when you train singles in such a manner, they're no longer scary. They're no longer gonna hurt you, which singles so often do the way most people train singles, right? But if you take it down, perfect form, every day, morning to night, increase, increase, increase. And guys, I've had great results with it. I have. Like, this is the way I train. This is the way I tell Auden to train. This is the way I tell anybody I care about to train, not because I'm trying to train. I think it's the best way. And it's not like I came up with it myself. I'm listening and I'm watching athletes all over the world. These are very common ideas that you find among athletes, okay? Precisely what you're trying to accomplish at intensities that you can do as much as possible. This is how you do it.
In conjunction with that question, what is your weekly routine like split go down to? Like, is it like a West Side barbell, like 2 days of the high
It's
one,
so funny.
one rep, max
Yeah.
reps with the
Yeah,
recovery
yeah.
days?
Okay, so look, I've done a lot of different things. I've done a lot of different systems. I've done a lot of different splits. But where I've gotten to now, and I'm telling you, a lot of people will criticize me, but I'm telling you that the simplicity that I have is the key to why it works. I do the same things over and over and over. My workouts don't change. I do the same workout multiple times a day, every day. It's lifestyle for me. It's not a weekly split. I wake up, I do the same things. I will practice whenever possible, okay? Which means potentially every day. I will wake up in the morning. Typically, I will do, it depends. Sometimes I'll do more rehab and blood flow depending on the state of my arm. But typically, I will break into singles training immediately upon waking, okay? Typically, the first thing I do when I walk down the stairs in my house is I'll walk over to my weight stack, single, single, maybe some hand, go and eat breakfast, and then set up my workout. I'll typically have an inside portion and an outside portion every day that I train, okay? So, and this is every day, okay? Every day, and the workout will look very similar. It'll focus on some very basic movements. I'll train at an intensity that is repeatable and manageable, so that when I add it all up, I've done more work in the areas than my opponents have. I feel like this is what will separate me, having done more work in the specific areas that are vital to the sport of arm wrestling. So yeah, I don't split into high intensity one day, this exercise this day. I do the same lifts every single day, every single workout. And I know it seems very simple, and perhaps not what bodybuilding theory will tell you, but I tell my kid to do it. Okay, so that should tell you how much I believe in it.
So you do your singles in the morning, and then,
I do my singles until I go to bed.
and when do you put the strength part in?
The strength is the singles.
The singles? Oh, okay.
Strength is singles.
I thought it was explosiveness.
I switch. Okay, so what'll happen is, so typically I'll work strength. Okay, so I will do blocks of strength, and the blocks can last for weeks. Okay, typically a strength block for me I'll do it until the wheels fall off. Okay, so if everything is going good, I will stay on strength. I'll stay on strength for 2 months if I can. If it's feeling good and everything's working right, I will stay in that strength block as long as possible. Now, as soon as it starts to feel weird, and almost always my finishing block before competition will be power. Okay, so it's basically I'm doing strength or I'm doing power. Okay, so my power block will be the same exercises again, just done with much less weight and very fast. And this is typically my finish piece before I compete. Yeah. And like, so the rest of my exercise throughout the day, I'll do a concentrated block that it's halfway between rehab and development. It'll be all outside, okay? So all the outside movements, everything pulling, so the rising, the rolling, maybe a little bit of supination, throw in some grip. And then the second portion will be all inside. So supination, low cup, high cup, press. And they'll be long and chill and easy. That's the thing, guys. I'm in a unique position right now because I'm a professional arm wrestler. I don't have a job where I have to do anything. You know, I can take my time. I don't have to rush it. You know, have a morning workout, have a night workout. I can take a few hours, just slowly work through them. Yeah, consistently do the work. Yeah.
Now, sorry.
Yep.
When I train every day, I'm training light,
Yeah.
and I usually train to failure.
Uh-huh.
But I'm finding if I go around 75% of my failure,
Yeah.
I'm getting a better result.
Right. Yeah.
Even though it's light.
100%. 100%. Yeah. No, failure is, you should never fail. So I was in Dennis Saplenkoff destroyed me in 2018, I think it was. Love Dennis Saplenkoff, guys. Super smart. So I think that the Russians and the Eastern Europeans, when I went over to Nemiroff, I think they appreciated my struggle. They did. And a lot of them spoke to me. They spoke to me in ways that were really beneficial. And I changed some of my philosophies around that time. So leading up to the Dennis match, I was training hard, I was doing my thing, but I can see that I trained much differently before and after Dennis. And it was because of what they told me afterwards. And I've shared with you already a lot of things that they told me that day. One of the things that they told me is that never fail. They said you can never fail. Never fail. It's not good for you. It's nothing good for you. You have to listen to your body. Your body is your friend. So Western, the way that I was brought up, and I'm sure the way a lot of you guys were brought up, no pain, no gain, okay? The hero in the gym is the guy who's puking because he's working out so hard. This is total bullshit. It's total bullshit. If you want to be really strong, understand your body is totally your best friend, okay? Your body is not gonna lie to you. If it's telling you it's hurting, it's telling you it's hurting, okay? Listen, your body is down for the fight. Your body wants to be there as bad as you do. When it tells you, gives you some pain signal, or it tells you fucking take it easy, take it easy. Okay, take it easy and give it its rest and come back. It wants to do it again. It wants to do it again. You know, but you have to respect it. You have to give it that break that it needs. Never fail. Never ever fail. Work at percentages that are lower. I'm doing singles all the time. When people talk about 1RM training, they're thinking 1 rep max. That's the part that I have a problem with. You're doing 1RM training, you're doing 1 rep strength training, but you're not maxing. Maxing is where failure happens. Maxing is where injuries happen. Your body can't tell the difference. You're stimulating yourself. The goal of exercise is to stimulate yourself and to make change, not to damage yourself. Failure is where all the damage happens. It's where all the really bad things happen. So yeah, never fail. Never fails. Take it back a bit, recoup, do it again. You'll do more. You'll do more. Yeah, no failure.
When you do the blood flow training and you get to like rep 30 or 40
Yeah.
or 50, how should that feel?
Should
Like
be
a
hot.
massive pump? Just
Feel
hot?
good. Hot. Feel
Okay.
good. Yeah, still good. Like, you know, you're working your stuff. Like, I do a lot of thumb work, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I'll show you kind of how some of it goes. All right, so I might go off my foot. Okay, so I'll do a set like this. So this is how I bounce like my high-low, right? So, all right, get it going. Okay, I'm not gonna probably do the whole thing. Now I'll have a whole bunch of bands in the morning. So when I wake up, I've got a whole slew of bands. Okay, I've got my yellow, my red, my blue, my green, my second green, and I'll just slowly work through all of them, and then I'll stack till I go all the way up. Okay, see, even now, I've only been doing it like 30 seconds. This is a very light band. I start to feel the warmth. I start to feel the warmth now as I move through. I can tell burning. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to go into any kind of a dark spot. It's in there. I got some heat. Switch the thumb, right? Really work the thumb, work the motion, work the range, right? Get in there. Breathe a bit, right? My whole goal is to push fluids, get a pump training, right? You're directing nutrients, okay? When I stand around, the nutrients don't know where they're freaking going. They don't know what to do, right? You call, your cells burn, they call to your blood goes there. Everything you eat gets directed, right? Okay, and I start to feel a bit of burn now. Okay, that's good. Okay, take a minute, go up to a point when I'm like, okay, this is all becoming way too hard, and I'm done. And guess what? I got a pump. I got a good pump, and I have no damage.
Yeah.
Nothing in there hurt me. Why? Because I didn't go to that dark place. I didn't get to a place where I'm fighting, but lifestyle, I do it all the time. My blood is going there all the time. I eat 45 minutes later, guess what? All that spinach or Doritos or pancakes, whatever I ate, is in my blood, right? That's when I make sure it pushes. I make sure to push it where I want it to go. Repeat. You do not have to go as hard as you think you do. It's consistency. Yeah, guys, yeah.
When you're doing your singles in the morning, do you start with that, or do you warm up the bands first to get the blood flowing?
You know what? Either one.
So you
Either
can
one.
do singles cold?
I can do singles cold, yeah. And that's the thing, is
I get it if it's not max, then you
it's
know.
not max, it's like 90. Now listen, it's still 90, it's still not easy. Okay, 90 is a hard lift. It's a tough lift, so I'm gonna get ready, right? Like I'm gonna flex, I'm gonna kind of position, I'm gonna probably crack. Oh, I'll be flexing, I'll be thinking about it the whole like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before I do it. So it's not like I'm just ta-da, but yeah, you can hit it. You can hit that thing cold. And that's great training for your body. You know, the ability to hit a 90%, 93% any time in the day, it's safe. You can do it, you really can. And I really think it's the best training you can do for arm wrestling strength development. All day long, just be working those singles. Yeah, and switch to power. But yeah, you can warm up with it. You can start with your blood flow in the morning. I think probably the best thing to do is do your blood flow before you go to bed at night. That's probably, if you could do it only one time, it'd be before you go to bed. Yeah, leave the blood in there, leave the blood in the arm for when you go to sleep. And in the morning, probably you're gonna be in your best state. Probably you'll be your healthiest first thing when you wake up, so you'll probably have your best chance with your singles actually. Yeah, hit those right away, get a good gauge for how you are. Because the goal is still to get those numbers up. You know, even though you're working at that 90, 93, you want to still progress those numbers very much. Yeah.
So if we got like two guys on the table, Devon, how would you, and they're drastically different strengths, like how would you actually make it work for both parties?
Yeah.
You know?
So the overriding rule is senior always holds. Junior always works, okay, in table practice.
Yeah.
So junior guy, you got freedom. Senior guy, give him rope all the time, okay? Don't ever put him into bad positions, really. You can push him for sure, but don't rip through him. Don't, you can tell when a guy's going 100%, right? If a guy's going his max, just let him do it.
Yeah.
Let him do it. And as a senior guy, okay, put yourself in a spot where you're getting something from it too.
Right.
And this is the best way to train. So just like seniors have to be mature enough to, and even to tell you the truth, one of the best things you can do as a senior is right away let the guy beat you once, twice, okay? Let him beat you. Then it kind of gets that out of the way,
Yeah.
okay? So then you can actually pull a bit more better. But yeah, seniors, keep your juniors healthy. Juniors, work hard. Work hard when you're a junior.
So you just like, cause we got like 2 guys in our club, right? So
Yeah.
like if I would just be holding the whole
Right,
time then, right?
you're holding.
Yeah, okay.
You're holding. Yeah, if you're the strong guy in the club, guess what? You're holding.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the problem is sometimes when you are a senior and you're the stronger guy and you're holding a lot, sometimes you start to get bad form.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll hold away a guy in a way that you shouldn't, because
Yeah.
you should never hold on to anybody in arm wrestling.
Okay.
The first rule of arm wrestling is you don't hold on to anybody
Yeah.
ever. You make them hold on to you. Okay, this is like golden rule of arm wrestling. Do not hold on to people. So that's why you should always practice in the strap.
So always practice.
Always
yeah.
in the strap.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a senior, that way you don't have to hold on, so you can, because otherwise you're holding them in positions that you never would, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Okay.
It'll teach you bad form.
Yeah.
But you can hold in a strap in all sorts of positions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We can take a little break now if you guys want. We can pull for a bit. I'd like to pull with all of you before I leave. You know, I don't know if it's gonna be possible. We can continue to have questions, but we gotta stay a little break. We've been sitting for a while. Yeah. 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 Yeah, buddy.
All right, right on, man. Thank you, man. You want a camera? No, not yet. All right, buddy. I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to work my keys.
Thanks, Carlos. You would.
Hey, right on, man.
If I stop training for 2 days,
Yeah, I just did a call
You have a YouTube channel? What is it?
My name. Just look up my name. Alex Maurice. I'm not streaming on YouTube.
No, I know. Eventually.
Oh yeah, I'll wait until he posts it and then I'll post it. I'm not gonna.
Alex? I'll tell my buddies is there perfect.
Anything I ever go to.
Yeah, it's about 8 of us there. It's not many, but it's second worst. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, when you have one and you have 3 or 400 and you see people with 3 million, you're like, wow, I really know what that means. Yeah.
concentrate on it.
Yeah, I just watch things that are beneficial on YouTube. Something that'll actually teach you. I'm not like a TikTok scroller or too many hobbies. How long have you been arm wrestling? Oh yeah. No. Oh wow. Because when you guys come with a team, it almost looks like, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of good guys who are massive. Oh yeah. All our wrestlers are close to meet someone that's an arm wrestler. Like, oh, you're one of us. He was asking us if the funny part of the club was from the literally the middle, absolutely. Just my table in the basement. Kids and whatever.
When you go back? When you go back? Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Is this going to throw around?
We're gonna go see. I think Cherry wants to go see the castle, or not this castle, but
Fortress of Lewisburg.
yeah, the Fortress of Lewisburg.
I hope you guys have good weather when you're there. That's my
Where is that? Where is that?
Lewisburg.
Not
Where?
far.
Where's
Not
that?
far,
I heard
maybe a
30 minutes.
45-minute
Yeah.
drive.
Oh, okay.
You show you on Google Maps things.
Yeah, Scott and them were saying they were there yesterday.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna go there today.
It'll be a fun experience anyway.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We're all dressed like old
I
times.
think we paid $8, but I think they might have upped the price after that. You know, like the double.
Who cares?
$16. It's still.
For me,
I love going to those championships and what they charge for what the value of the.
Yeah, the experience.
Like it's the cheapest thing I've ever been to Michigan.
That's why I like
it's not bigger than Michigan, but it was big last year. It's not bigger than Michigan. No, Michigan.
Probably bigger this year.
It should be, but I heard Michigan was down this year. Oh, that's versus West Nile qualifier or something? Yeah.
Well, he did a big water cut and kind of just getting cramps from
Sometimes players don't care. They don't care if they're stacking one on top of another. Yeah. And I think the Eagles get more too much. I'm doing what I want to do. Whatever, I'm not going to stay involved.
I want to
Do anything about it?
How much would you do water cut the cutting? No. That's the last commitment I'm prepared to make. I think I'm absolutely nice area.
Just Ontario, Quebec.
This one I started at 195.
Yeah, I should have probably got it. Good to see you, man.
I weighed at 84.6.
Okay.
I didn't know what pounds what it was.
Yeah, it's close.
Just from water.
You feel good? Doesn't bother you?
No, actually, it makes me feel better.
Really?
Yeah, I told you, yeah, water's like, even more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's torture. My mouth is like stinky inside. I can't wait. I got all the juices I have for afterwards.
Yeah, like 10 bottles of juice lined up afterwards.
Oh, I did different things. Sherry hated it. She's like, I have apple juice. This is what I saw in the stores. This is what I saw in the stores. But yeah, so that's something right now. I'll take it.
You want to try it?
I have.
Even better. Don't
Yeah, well, make it like decent. Make it
Yeah, so much of it is about how to bring it into your lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
With the least cost. All you can face in your life.
And no matter what your job is, no matter what your responsibility is,
Turn it into it's the best way to ruin a hobby is to turn it into a job.
your life, you know, whether you have stuff set up where you work,
I feel like that's one of like
in your house, you don't have to get in a car, drive wherever it gets the reasons out.
You can tell by how he dresses.
Yeah, and that person when he's ready for work or he's for work, he's able to tap into it and switch to that part. Yeah, you get a turn on that. First day.
Yeah, it was 50 bucks at work.
So, you
jump
go
in?
with it? Oh, eventually, for sure, yeah. Callum, by the way.
Scott,
Scott, nice to meet you, guys. Sorry?
Chris gets out of it.
Oh,
Yeah, you should probably set up something. I think we're back in now.
Are you out at Alberta?
Yeah. Alberta.
Alberta? Oh, right on.
So?
Yukon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the farthest away now.
Yeah. I know. When we were joking this year, I was like, someone's like, oh, you came farther. I was like, I don't think we could have possibly came any farther. Like, it's literally the exact opposite side of the country. You know? But yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's awesome. How'd you do yesterday?
Oh, I didn't work, but as expected.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm more of a participant at this point than a serious competitor. I come with him to make sure he does well.
Oh, is that your son?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Well, I need to be relevant a little bit.
You know, it's so funny. They had Randy James had Ty Sacco going the whole night that Jacob played for Richard. That was his son. Oh, he's like, man, your son is so good. He's like, yeah, I trained him really well. His mom brought him up till he was 13. And Ty was actually going with that, I think. After a while, he fought him. Yeah. Not dad. It's hilarious. It was funny.
I had the same thing. Last year was my first year in nationals, and I just got it was me and the other guy in the garage. So we didn't know how to arm wrestle. We were just standing around. I got completely cut, but I was happy to be there. It was really fun to show up and let us cheer.
That was Winnipeg last year, right?
Winnipeg. We got a win. We got 3 wins.
Winnipeg, yeah. Nice place too.
Those are the first wins Yukon's had in like 37 years.
Well, that's the best thing. I actually saw up north, is it Nunavut? They had their first tournament. They posted in, I can't remember where they posted it. So I was
I know
like,
some of the
man,
folks up there.
yeah, like, good for you guys. Like, if I could go to that, I'd go to that too.
Well, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna be good arm wrestlers because there's nothing to do in it. It's so cold and it's dark all the time. Like,
Well, I
you're gonna be
believe it.
sitting there just doing this all
Well,
day.
some of these like indigenous communities are like powerful people, man.
100%.
And then when they have like nothing to do or have something to do with art, they're great athletes.
Very singularly focused. You get singularly focused people, you're gonna have some dangerous boys.
Like him. It's a
Like, you literally, yeah, like, yeah. That's why I've been trying to get into schools, but kind of why I asked. There's so much right.
You know, I
Makes
thought
sense.
I thought about what you said there. So what I did in our club is started a non-profit community and just fill out waivers, get them within your business, and just fill out waivers so you're covered.
So I did that. I'm a non-profit out there. And it's because of their funding accessibility. They don't like have a lot of money or anything. So I was like, well, what about insurance? And they're like, what insurance? Like, we don't have any widespread insurance for anything. Hockey, yes. And then Canada Games, which is like, you go to Russia, Greenland, all the northern places, they have like those cool like Arctic games. That's about it.
The only thing, yeah, for arm wrestling, it's not seen as a sport, so you can't get into sports.
Well, it's like I swear. It's like I swear or something. So I was like, yeah, like arm wrestling. Like, oh, nice.
Does everybody know how to put the strap on? Very important. So, this is actually one of my favorite parts of arm wrestling. I want to always be as perfect as possible with gratification. I want to be able to do this. I've not yet done a perfect strap in my entire life, and I try every time. So I come together. See the double stitching? What you're gonna do today. Okay, take the double stitching and put it just inside so when the thumb's closed and double stitching.
How's the family?
Good. We're having a good Canada Day weekend at the cottage and with friends. They just keep sending me videos of them having campfires and all that good stuff.
Okay.
How about yourself?
And now you see this, that's perfect. Yep.
Our weekend's great. Kids, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
Being a nuisance is normal.
Yeah. How old are they now?
12 and 10.
Yeah.
And they finally got cell phones, so it's non-stop texting,
Oh.
asking for stuff.
Yeah.
And they're with the grandparents, so they're always trying to scheme the grandparents.
Yeah. Are they allowed on social media?
No, we won't let that
Yeah,
happen.
no.
No.
My 12-year-old and 10-year-old, they have phones and iPads, and my 12-year-old's really trying to push for Snapchat. Their friends have had it for years, but my eldest is pretty logical.